So to start off the challenge, July 1st, 8 PM PDT time. Day 1, we went for Mob of the Dead as it was the highest voted map. There's nothing better to start off a map reviving yourself, making you feel that you already took a down. I think we can all agree that setting up a Mob of the Dead can be quite annoying. You gotta feed the puppies first, then get your house retriever, grab all the 5 parts for the plane. I must say, the washing machine part is probably my favorite part to get on this map since you can get some free zombie kills. RNG for box isn't the best, so I decided to retrieve the 5 skulls for the free blunder get. Wasn't the best experience when I attempted this months ago.
What do I aim at? What's the plane aim at the distance?
Oh! Then once you're over at the Golden Gate Bridge, you have to go through one full round without shooting. I grabbed my Redeemer at the start of the next round and proceeded to the double tap strat for the earlier rounds. This strat is quite fast as the zombies only spawn from the front. The Ray Gun Mark II will work perfect for this strat, but for some reason it's oddly rare to get, so I stuck with the Ray Gun instead. I camped here to roughly low 40s as the Ray Gun was becoming a pea shooter making crawlers, so at round 43 I swapped over to the high round strat called the Cafeteria strat or the Acid Trap strat. There's a few different variations you can do with this strat. Either you can activate the trap and quickly run into the infirmary stairs to camp with your Redeemer out, or you can train in the MP5 room while the trap is still running. I decided to go with the version 2, but one thing I was not aware of was supposedly to make the spawns faster, the shower doors as well as the door above the MP5 should have been kept closed. However, in my game, the doors were open so spawns were tremendously slower. In fact, it actually made it more difficult to train in the MP5 room. Once you get into the rhythm of this strat, it's actually a lot easier than it looks. You have plenty of room to train in this 5,000 square feet room minus the 4,000 square feet junks in the center of the room. Whenever your Redeemer is ready, you want to charge it up once and throw it at the zombies. Don't worry, if you are a terrible trick shotter back in multiplayer, this will change your life. On round 75, I ended up taking my first down. Got slapped pretty fast and did not have to shield at the time. Then after getting back up, I once again took my second down. That's what I realized about this map, is that it isn't necessarily hard to avoid going down, but once you do take it down, you start getting death streaks. Really shows you how inconsistent the blunder gap really is. For the remainder of the game, the strat becomes quite boring since you are mainly just waiting for your Redeemer to recharge. This also isn't a fast strat, so we ended up reaching round 100 at 11 hours, 58 minutes, and 49 seconds with 2 downs. And just a reminder for this challenge, since there are 5 maps to complete in 5 days, I will need to average 1 map a day. And being able to complete Mob on day 1, which was considered one of the longer map, was a W. Moving on to day 2, we have our next map, Die Rise. I never really understood why this map gets so much hate. Honestly, it's probably one of the most hated maps in the zombies community. But guess what? I love this map and I think it's extremely underrated. You can literally get fully set up on round 1. Turn on the power, build the solidifier, pack the AN94, and grab your perks. To be honest, it might have been a mistake for me to grab Who's Who, especially when I already did the setup for the Tombstone perma perk prior to this game. But oh well, you know, OCD is kicking in. So once we were on round 2, I basically started aka the low round, or you can call it the high round strat, which requires you to camp at the elevator strat. But before committing to this strat, you would have to get the pre-patched version of the solidifier by shooting a whole clip into this sign. I have no idea why this works, but it allows the purple chain effect to be more effective. When the jumping jack round approaches, you can simply gobble knuckle or claymore them. As long as you don't shoot or don't miss a shot, you will be rewarded a free perk. The strat is very straightforward. You can simply just camp at the ledge here and shoot your solidifier into the horde. The spawns here are actually ridiculously fast since there's only 2 spawn points, so monkey bombs in this case are quite essential as it helps you grab max ammo. Couple things to watch out for is often at times 1 or 2 zombies may drop down to the lower ledge and you would have to shoot them. One way to reduce this issue is every 10 to 15 seconds shoot another shot into the horde to make sure the chain effect does not break. The other thing is when you do shoot the lower ledge, it causes the floor to be extremely slimy, so you might accidentally slide off. What I do is walk backward to the wall and just constantly jump. Or you could place your trample sleeve in front of you so you wouldn't need to shoot. The rounds are just flying, so there really isn't much to go over for this strat. Stay away from getting nuke drops for instant kills as it will break the chain effect. The only drop you should be risking your life for will be max ammos. On round 82, I actually took it very dumbed down during the jumping jack rounds. For some odd reason, when I was cornered into the wall, I wasn't able to place down the claymores. I should have shot my Silicon Fire, but since I only had 8 shots, I wanted to make sure I actually got the full max ammo. On round 97, I ended up taking my second down. Zombies suddenly dropped to the lower ledge and the slippery ground ended up pushing me towards the zombies. But luckily, I did have Tombstone perma perk, so I was fine. But imagine if I did not, then the outcome might have been totally different. Then finally, at 3 hours and 54 minutes, we were able to complete Die Rise by reaching round 100. This map had been a cruise, and I personally think that anyone who dislikes this map should give this another chance. Especially when one of the best zombie content creator, Mr. Lexify, is recreating Die Rise as a custom map. Nobody is allowed to hate this map anymore. I decided to start the run for the third map the morning after, leaving us roughly 4 hours until the end of day 2. Very unfortunate is one of my least favorite maps, and since I've only played this map a handful amount of times, my personal best has always been at round 50, making this map my lowest round on Black Ops 2. Even with the bank being on this map, for some reason, it still feels like it's taking ages to actually get set up. First thing was to free Leroy and tricking him into breaking the barrels by feeding him boost. Next, we still had to find all the parts for the 3 buildables, which were the resonators, the turbine, and the trample steam. And yes, I do often get lost when playing Barry just due to being unfamiliar with the map. Next, we had to feed Leroy the candies in order to lock the box so we were able to spin for the Mark II, the Monkey Bomb, and the Paralyzer. Before heading over to Pack, I learned that there's a way to obtain 2 free perks at the garden by throwing a time bomb right before you kill the last witch. I packed my Mark II, my Mustang Sallies, and my Paralyzer. Now we were ready to head over to the courtroom to prepare for the low round strat known as the tunnel strat. I believe this map was the first to introduce the perma PhD perk, so make sure you have that by taking multiple fall damage. But do be aware, since you will lose it if you do take fall damage and will have to regain it back. Although I am not a huge fan of this map, I must admit that this tunnel strat is actually pretty fun. It's actually quite similar to the Die Rise, where there are only 2 spawn points and you are shooting your Mustang Sally in one window while PhD flopping the cave spawn with your claymores out. I believe this trick gives more power and increase of radius, but I'm not 100% sure on this. This strategy is insanely fast. Combined with Vulture A, which is actually a very powerful perk, not only do you see through walls, be invisible in green mist, but it also refills ammo. When you start to run low on ammo, you can simply camp close to the entrance by burst shooting your Paralyzer or headshotting with the Mark II. I decided to stay here till the end of round 49, and that was when we had to transition over to the high round strat called the Jug strat. Most people say Barry is an easy map for high round, but for someone who isn't familiar with using the Paralyzer, it can be difficult to try to get used to the rhythm, since this strat focuses more on using buildables to kill rather than training. I took it down here around 50 due to mistiming the resonator. I learned afterward that you're supposed to wait a second before dropping down. I think this might have been my second down, since I might have taken one during the tunnel strat, but for some reason I wasn't able to find that down. One good thing about this map is that there are unlimited crew revives, since after every 5 rounds or so, when the witch's house lights up, you are able to get another free perk. The bad thing about this map is that you can't get drops on the buildables, which causes an issue when you run out of monkey bombs. But Chad was able to teach me a secret that apparently if you feed candy to Leroy by getting the free drop at the bank, he can change the drop. So I tried it myself.
Yeah, how do you get a drop again? Why is it not working? Oh. Okay, and then he comes over here. Whatcha? Oh fuck. Oh shit, nobody saw that, right?
And in case if you missed it, I did drop my controller. So at roughly around 60 plus was the start of day 3. I would say I got a little bit more comfortable with this strat. A fully charged up turbine can use up to 5 resonators before it semi loses power. One way to easily tell is actually look at the fin at the back of the turbine. Facing upward means full power, and when it turns horizontal is when it's at semi-power. A single resonator can also kill up to roughly 40-ish zombies before it breaks. The key technique for this strat is really based on getting your timing right. Here on round 91, I'm not sure if this was a visual bug on Plutonium, but sometimes when the resonator breaks, it just instant vanishes, which actually led to another unfortunate down. I think at this point, I had around 4 downs, and basically every single one of them was either due to not paying attention or not realizing that the resonator is gone. The Paralyzer can only kill up to round 70, so if the zombies were able to run past the boundary of the resonator, you are bound to go down, especially if you don't have any monkey bomb. Up to this point, the strat just becomes overwhelmingly boring, makes me feel like I'm just staring at the stopwatch. But gladly at sub 10 hours, we were able to complete Barry at round 100 in one go, beating my personal best by 50 rounds. Moving on to the next map, Origins, which is also the beginning of day 4. At this time, we were left with only 2 maps with 2 days remaining, so time-wise, I wouldn't say I was feeling that confident in completing this challenge just yet. My personal best on Black Ops 2 Origins was only 89, played nearly a year ago, while I have reached round 100 on Transit. However, that was played since a decade ago. For some odd reason, I used to have so much trouble pronouncing the name of this map properly, so I just ended up calling it Orange until one day I finally managed to call it Origins. Setting up on this map is certainly quite a pain in the ass. First thing I did was try to rack up enough points and pack my Mauser to get the Boomhilda, since this gun demolishes the Panzer. Next, I worked my way to build the upgraded version of the Ice Staff, which is the primary wonder weapon that we will be using. Once that was completed, I also crafted the upgraded version of the Wind Staff in case we run into ammo issues. Afterwards, I tried to get the Golden Shovel to get the extra perk bottles as well as the Golden Helmet. I think we can all agree upon the fact that memorizing where all the dig sites are located is extremely tedious at first. Especially the fact that the spots are entirely different from between the normal and the red dig sites. I remember months ago when I learned it for my very first time on Black Ops 3, I had to watch a video while checking every location, making me feel like I was following a GPS. At roughly in around 20 plus was when I started the high round strat over at Gen 2. I chose this one over the strat between Gen 6 and 4 due to this one being safer. Although I have enough experience playing on BO3 Origins version, there was still a huge difference gap between the BO3 and the BO2 version. For instance, Black Ops 2 Ice Staff charge shot ends a little quicker. You also need to pull out the Claymore for faster death animation. Most importantly, you have no Gobblegum, so keeping track of your drop cycle is the biggest key on this map. At round 43, I ended up taking my first down due to shooting my Ice Staff a little bit late. I was still not very used to timing the charge shots properly. For instant kills, I just whoop out my MP40. The spawns are extremely fast, so it can still be very sketchy. A good advice would be to use an upgraded war machine so you can simply just spam, since you have PhD and you can get twice as many kills. On round 74, I started encountering ammo issues, so I tried to ride the tank around to possibly get a free max ammo. On Black Ops 3, you would never have to do this since you have ammo mods, so this was quite of a new feature for me to learn. Then on round 78, I ended up taking my second down due to getting a shit spawn right after getting a nuke. Then on round 87, due to lack of ammo, I had to learn for my very first time calling in the tank strat, and things did not go so well. I literally got squished like a pancake as I was not aware that the tank could actually kill me. Things got very gross as well, since somehow my Gen 2 was completely bugged out, meaning that I was unable to turn it back on. And of course, the Wonder Fist was also at that location, so I was not able to re-buy back Quick Revive for the remaining of the game, and was unable to have access to Pack-a-Punch as well. I'm not exactly sure what caused the bug, but it might have to do with something with grabbing the zombie blood right when I turned on the gen, I believe. After recovering from that down, I literally had zero ammo on both my staffs. I already grabbed the free max ammo from chest somewhere in the round 70s due to screwing up the Templar max ammos. I was able to save a zombie at the end of the round, so I decided to take the tank again to try to gamble for potential max, and then this happened. Oh wow. What an unfortunate way to die. And again, I was just unaware that even the side of the tank could potentially kill me. After how this game turned out, I was a little tilted, so I decided to go to sleep and retry again later the day. After taking roughly 5 to 6 hours of sleep, I was once again back on the grind, but this time I had my moderator Jakey on voice call to help support me, since he was much more knowledgeable on this version of Origins than me. On round 51, I took my first down again to miss time with the Ice Staff. I felt like I shouldn't have died here because I still had my shield, but I guess the charge shot kind of delayed a bit. Then finally on round 90, we were able to surpass my old PB. I was still sort of encountering ammo issues, but it was definitely way better than last game. I got more familiar with calling in the tank, so I was mixing that strat while doing full hordes with the staffs. The rounds in the 90 plus were taking way longer than I expected. What the issue was, I kept running low on ammo, so I had to keep using the tank strat, which was way slower than camping with the Ice Staff. This was the moment when I realized that I was still shooting my charge shots too quickly, and if I wanted to get this 100, I had to make sure to get the timing right. There is also a trick where if you know it's going to be a Panzer round next, you can actually go into the crazy place to get the 4 normal drops first, then exit and kill the Panzer to get the 5th drop. On round 99, I basically camped for the majority of the round, and finally we managed to reach round 100 at 8 hours and 15 minutes. Time-wise, it took me to complete this map was very dreadful, as it took nearly 20 hours due to learning the strats and failing the first game. Even for this second game, it was extremely slow due to using the tank strat. What I did learn was if I were to ever attempt this map again, as long as you can get the timing of the charge shot properly and keep track of your drops, then you shouldn't need to call in the tank at all. But above all of that, I was very happy to have achieved this round 100, as if we did fail again, challenge was most likely over. Alright, so after taking a short break, day 5 has finally begun and we are moving on to the grand finale map, Tranzit, which is known to be the biggest zombie map of all time. This map is so big to the point that it could probably fit every map from World War to Black Ops 3 Zombies. We started the match by building the turbine and quickly made our way to the bank over at town. Thankfully, this map has the bank feature so you can actually get fully set up early. But even with that benefit, it's still very tedious as you need to turn on the power, hit the box, build the jet gun, and open up Pack-a-Punch. In addition, you also need to make sure that the front piece for the bus as well as the piece that opens to the Galvan Knuckle are not at farm location, as you will need to keep that front door closed for the high round strap. I personally think this map had a lot of high potential to be better, but there's just so many awful features added to this map that annoys the heck of players. One being obviously the infinite spawns of the Denzais coming at you like there's no tomorrow. Second, way too much running around to get from places to places. Thirdly, having to reopen that Pack-a-Punch every single time is very annoying. And fourth, the fact that the wonder weapon is just pure garbage. Once I was set up, I made my way over to outside of farm. By keeping the entrance closed, there will only be 4 zombie spawn spots, 2 at the front entrance and the other 2 on the opposite end. You can simply just spam your Mustang Saudis in the earlier rounds. Then eventually you will have to do a bit of training and shoot them with your ray gun. A Mark II will be much more ideal, but the RNG in getting one just isn't in my favor. In the round 40s, you will notice the ray gun is starting to struggle and you will have to start shooting full clips into the horde. The strategy up to round 50 actually isn't that bad on this map, nearly a sub 2 hours. Whenever the Avogadro spawns in, you can simply just Galvan Knuckle them as it only takes 2 punches, which is why it's important to have them. Ammo will become an issue at this point, so you will have to start doing the high round strat, which is to use the jet gun, but in the proper way. The number 1 rule while using this wonder weapon is to never let it overheat, because once it does, it will break into pieces again and you're going to have to search for them like looking for the Dragon Balls. And trust me, you don't want to be doing that in the middle of a round. On round 53, I gave up on the ray gun and swapped it for a packed M16 mainly for instant kill purposes. If I had the Mark II instead, I could have probably kept it till like round 70. Back to what I mentioned earlier about using the jet gun in the proper way, there is a method that can help prevent the jet gun from overheating, or at the very minimum. Every time you melee, you wait half a second before holding down the fire trigger, then once you kill a couple zombies, you repeat the process again. What this does is basically when you melee while the jet gun is heating up, the melee takes over that progress so that the jet gun isn't much affected by it. Things can get a little trickier when the bus transitions over to this location. You can simply use the bus as a trap by training near the entrance area and shooting a Mustang Sally bullet into the horde before letting the bus crush them. The reason for this is if you don't damage the zombies, they will just respawn. And this was a mistake that I have been doing up to round 80 until my boy Shino22 in my chat mentioned to me about this. Then once the bus is about to depart, you train near the lava area and shoot another bullet while using the bus to clear the horde. One thing that makes Transit round 100 not an easy task is simply how boring and suffering the strategy is. Not only is the strategy very slow as you are only killing a couple zombies at a time, there's also no bonus rounds. You also got to deal with the fogs at all times, so it can be hard to see the zombies from a distance. Overall, this map is the true definition of hell. At about round 90, we were already 10 hours into the game. At this point, we only had 6 hours left until day 5 was officially over, so if I wasn't able to finish the last 10 rounds within that time frame, then challenge would be a fail. I wanted to add the countdown timer like I did on my 7 days challenge, but for some reason that app froze, and the only way to fix it was to restart my PC, which obviously I couldn't. Then finally at 13 hours and 23 minutes with only 2 hours and 30-ish minutes before day 5 ends, we were able to clutch up and complete not only round 100 Transit, but flawless as well. Funny thing is, this was my only flawless map out of the 5, and yet in my opinion, this is the hardest map for round 100 on Black Ops 2, excluding the sub-survival map. Overall, this was a heck of a grind as there was no practice attempts or preparations in prior to this challenge. I basically just threw myself into doing this without having much knowledge, but the pressure and the learning process was what made this grind more worthy. I'm grateful that I was able to complete this in one go, and I hope you guys all enjoy watching the grind. Throughout this year, we have completed both 14 days and 7 days challenge on every map on Black Ops 3, including Chronicles, and now we have completed the 5 days challenge on every map on Black Ops 2. So what should the next challenge be?